I'm Mr. MegaManFan. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. You know all the things to do. And this is Mega Kaiju Boom Ball, a new NES game by Orabody Incorporated. Now, full disclosure here, I was sent a demo ROM of this game for testing purposes and to help promote the game. I did decide to back it on Kickstarter after trying the demo because I just enjoyed the game that much, and I was able to get one of the early bird reward tiers to get it for a little lower price. I don't know if those will still be available by the time you watch this video, but I wanted you to know that I am a backer of this project. And why am I a backer? Because it's fun, and I'm going to show you some footage of the game running on real NES hardware. Now, also, full disclosure here, I had to get a special mapper version of the ROM to use it with EverDrive. I assume when the project is fully funded and released, if you chose the digital reward tier, you'll get a choice of which version of the ROM you want, or maybe that won't even be an issue by the time it's released. I just wanted you to know that there is some EverDrive compatibility issues. However, if you're a backer of the physical reward, you'll get a cartridge, and that won't even be an issue anymore. You'll just have a working NES cartridge to put into your console. And there's also a demo version of Mega Kaiju Boom Ball that you can play on itch.io. I'll put links to that and to the Kickstarter in the description of this video. Here is my setup for testing Mega Kaiju Boom Ball. I'm using a standard toaster oven NES, as they're called, the most common version of the control deck, but what's uncommon about it is I have a zero force insertion cartridge slot that was specially modded for me by my good friend Fix-It Phil, so I no longer need to push down when I push in a cartridge to make contact. And as for the video feed, it's being sent to a RetroTink 5X and upscaled to HDMI and output to a flat panel television. Yes, CRT snobs will complain about that, but for recording purposes, this is actually better because then I don't get the Moore pattern of a CRT screen while I'm trying to film. Now, I could have just gone full digital and recorded through an emulator on a laptop or a phone, but I wanted to show this running on a real NES, so you get some quality assurance with this game. But Orabody is not new to this, they're true to this. This is not their first NES or Famicom game for that matter. If you check out their page, they've done a whole series of games in what they call the Donkeyverse. That's not a reference to Donkey Kong, that's just what they call it. So they've been making NES games for a while, and it shows because this is fun and playable right off the bat. If you like Arkanoid or Breakout style games, you'll know what you're doing right away. You're bashing buildings with the ball, it's bouncing around, bouncing off them like they're bricks, and occasionally you'll get a power-up that allows you to shoot the enemy on the screen just like Arkanoid, and you'll get different power-ups that speed up or slow down your ball or give you a multi-ball. So you're a one-man wrecking crew going after these kaiju monsters that are terrorizing the city, but since you're wrecking buildings to get to them, it kind of makes you wonder who's the real terror here. I'm doing just as much damage, maybe more, than these kaiju monsters are, but you were told to stop them by any means necessary, so stop them I shall. Now, if you have the weapon to fire, and there are buildings in your way, your shots are not going to reach the kaiju, so you're still going to have to bash the buildings out of the way with your paddle and ball before you can actually do damage. Also, this is a multi-screen game, and if you get knocked back a screen, you're going to have to relaunch your ball to the upper screen. The easiest way I found to do that is move your paddle to the left of the catcher that'll be in the center of the screen when you've cleared a screen, and then you'll fire a shot that'll land the ball right in the catcher and launch it back up to the next screen. So we've got a nice Revenge of the Gators style, I would say, where you're progressing from a lower screen to an upper screen to the boss fight at the very top screen. I enjoy that format, and I enjoy Arkanoid, brick breaking, and shooting type games that combine those different elements. So Mega Kaiju Boomball was right up my alley from the moment I started playing it. As you can see from this menu, there are a variety of stages you can select at the start. You don't have to go in any particular order. Whichever one you feel like challenging is up to you. But obviously, you have to clear them all to get to the final mission of the game. And there are different sets of stages, whether you're playing single player or co-op as two-player. And one of the things they have mentioned in the Kickstarter rewards is that more stages will be added to co-op play. So be sure to check the Kickstarter rewards for that if that's something you're interested in. But right now I'm just showing you single player because I don't have anybody over here right now that I can hand a second controller to and do co-op. Maybe I'll get together with Tristan and we'll try two-player Mega Kaiju Boomball at some point. In the meantime, you're looking at the island stage of the game. And there's one other stage that I tried during the recording of this video, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But at first, I thought I was actually taking out the little dinosaurs that were running around, but I was actually misinformed. They are not the enemy here. It's this evil plant in the middle, and once I bash enough of these rocks out of the way, it'll spring to life and reveal itself as the true threat. What's interesting is that some of these monsters will help you as opposed to hurting you. Like if you've got a giant King Kong looking gorilla, he'll decide he doesn't like the giant monster plant and he will attack it just as much as you will. You can still take out the King Kong, but you don't have to. He's not attacking you, he's attacking the plant. Let me show you that right now. So I've skipped ahead a few minutes in the gameplay footage, and then just out of nowhere, here's the gorilla, the giant ape, the King Kong, whatever you want to call this kaiju, and he's no fan of this plant. And you're going to find that throughout the game, there are various things that can help you attack the threatening kaijus. There will be tanks and robots and even airplanes that are circling overhead, and if you happen to hit them with the ball and paddle, they'll go flying out of control, and they can fly straight into the kaiju. So timing is everything. Friendly enemies that can help you are useful as well. There's a lot going on in this game, and it's got a very nice sound and visual aesthetic to go with that. This game has polish. In fact, it's described on the Kickstarter as being 99.9% complete, with the only impediment to reaching 100% being that they want to release it physically. So, this is rather pleasing for a backed game to know that it's already in a playable state and they're just putting the finishing touches on it, as opposed to you having to fund somebody's dream project where they're starting from scratch and have very little in the way of a working game. I'd much rather back something that's close to the finish line as opposed to something that's may or may not actually reach that end stage. You know what I'm saying? It's nice to back something that's right there, that's ready to go, and just needs that 1% more to get out physically and to work out any bugs. So as you can see, I've skipped ahead some more, and the gorilla is helping me again in the final battle with the plant, which I have just won. Then you get the reward screen saying, "You're a hero. What do you mean? You caused more damage than the kaiju. That's inconsequential. Just do your job." And we'll continue to do that job by selecting the moon stage. It's another thing I want to compliment this game on, is having a sense of humor for the kaiju monster genre, where who knows who's the real threat here, you or the kaiju, and I do like that spin on things. This one is like a gelatinous blob type creature, which has somehow invaded the moon, and somehow you've gotten to the moon and you're fighting it on a moon base. So that's the premise of this particular stage. It's good that they programmed all these different environments for you to fight in, and they will react differently according to what the layout of the buildings is. There are sometimes impediments that they ricochet off of that are indestructible, and there are sometimes areas where your ball can kind of get caught in a corner. If I was going to put a little more polish on the game, I would say some of these moon stages I got caught in a loop for a long time where the ball would not traverse up or down the screen. It would be nice if there was like a tilt option of some kind where maybe you could shake up the board if the ball gets stuck in an area in a loop and doesn't really want to go. I mean, it'll get there eventually over time. It can just be a little bit of a vexation to wait. Not the worst thing in the world, but it can also be a good thing if you get a ball stuck in an upper area and it's fighting a kaiju for you. So maybe that's something you wouldn't want to correct. I'm not the game designer. I don't know those things. I'm just saying it'll happen occasionally, but not in a way that significantly detracted from my enjoyment, just something I took note of while playing. Am I a little bit biased because I got to try this game before the Kickstarter went live? Well, possibly. Was it a game that I was always going to enjoy because it's in my wheelhouse for NES and arcade style games that I like? Absolutely. So I think the bias is also earned in this respect where if it's the kind of game I enjoy, I'm going to praise it. And if it's done well enough to match that format, I'm going to praise it as well. So I feel like Mega Kaiju Boom Ball was not made for me, but it was made for me, if you know what I'm saying. I hope you'll at least try the demo on itch.io and decide for yourself. Maybe you'll want to back it, maybe you won't, but I think it's at least worth a try. I'm Mr. MegaManFan. Thanks for watching.